There's no self-development without self-awareness. You can read as many books as you like.
100%.
But if you can't read yourself, you'll never learn a thing.
It's why I've never read a book.
Yeah, exactly. So
like to me, the only thing I've read is my feelings.
So how does one person listening to this now that's been listening to our content and they really want to be an entrepreneur, they want to have a big media company, whatever it might be, but they don't know they don't have them, but
they don't have the
objectively
chops.
they don't have the minerals. Well, how do they go about discovering they don't have the minerals?
By going in the pool and drowning.
Okay.
It's not for you and I to judge because we've been wrong too much.
Yeah.
I've been wrong so much it scares the fuck out of me, and I'm gifted with intuition that when I'm dead, I hope they can test for it because I think I'm all time. And I've been wrong a ton. That makes me believe everyone's wrong. So if you're listening, here's a couple things that are a good call out that may bring value instead of what I just said. Asking what you're in it for is humongous.
Yeah, but this generation, I don't think they know. Because people come up to me.
And you know this. First of all, you're part of this generation, young guy.
That's how I know.
But I know too. But guess what? My generation, I'm so done with this. My generation didn't know either. Guess what? When I was 22, all my friends wanted to hook up too. All my friends wanted a BMW too. And by the way, as somebody who observed people his whole life, the people that were older than me, the people that were buying expensive wine for me when I was 20 and they were 35, everybody wants stuff to communicate to others that they're winning. We've been putting on makeup since we had fucking clubs hitting each other. It's what humans do. We do things to communicate to
status and stuff.
Yes. Why? To hide. We're hiding. We used to do it with status. Right now we've decided to shit on each other. Our current move to hide is by tearing each other down. That's
status too though. I want to be the most leftist. I want to be the most on the right. I want,
Of course, the problem is, unlike buying a BMW and going into debt, when you're doing this one, you're hurting other people's feelings. It's one thing when you're hurting your credit score. It's another thing when you're trying to make someone feel bad about themselves. That's why the acts of us collectively at 8 billion people right now is completely and utterly unacceptable, which is why I'm desperately communicating at the highest levels about the stuff that I want to put into the world as a counter to people's us against them. Girls versus boys, blacks versus Jews, Republicans. It's fucking exhausting. Once people understand there's one team, humans, you can be mad at elephants, you can be mad at falcons, but being mad at each other is the most counterproductive thing. And we need to go into tribes. My country, my sports team. I understand this because I hate all the other football teams. It's the only place I get those feelings. The way people feel about Republicans and Democrats or genders and races or countries, the only place I can touch on it emotionally is American football. My level of actual disdain towards Patriot fans is real. I feel the rage. But the fact that I do that for something silly, that's a form of escapism, that's a couple hours a week to reset and enjoy and escape, like people watch movies or ski or exercise, that's silly. That's football, that's silly. We're doing this in real life to each other. And it's gotta stop. And I think it starts with people understanding if you are shitting on others right now, it's a complete reflection to your own unhappiness and insecurity.
I had a kid come up to me, and this is why I was asking the question, is after I did a talk, and he said to me as I knelt down on stage, he said, he must have been 18, yeah. I want to be a public speaker too. And I'm like, why?
Why is always the right answer.
And
there.
The answer you'll get from my generation, is, well, I want to change the world, Gary.
Yeah, of course.
And then you go, what do you want to change about it? They go, in fact, what I came to learn is they want to be the type of person that's known for changing the world. They 100%. Want the admiration.
That's right.
They saw the audience clap,
that's right.
And they want that feeling.
The money, the fame, the accolades, the blue check, the followers, the fun. I understand. It's the problem with all the things I just mentioned is they're a vulnerability to your own happiness if it's not balanced. There's nothing, by the way, sometimes people get mad at me in the other direction. They're like, fucking Gary, I worked my fucking face off. I can buy a fucking watch or a car. I'm like, of course you can. The why. If you love the shit, I don't understand sports cars and the feeling of going that fast. That's not me. But I understand buying rare sports cards and that's enjoyable. If you enjoy that, that's phenomenal. When I talk about materialistic things, I talk about makeup for insecurity. If you are burning the midnight oil. You know how people burn out? They're working till 2 a.m. to buy the expensive car, to use it to close their insecurity, to get the affirmation from the opposite sex or their friends. That system's broke. It won't work. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, everyone's like, oh, okay, Gary, but I'd rather have the fucking money. Like, this whole, like, I'd rather cry in my Ferrari than drive a Toyota or take the bus. You say that. Do you really want to be in a mental place where you're on the borderline of suicide and you have heavy drug usage, even though you make $3 million a year, $17 million a year? Because you know this now, Steve. You've worked very hard and you had the talents and the luck of the draw and you put in the execution to now run in circles where you know what I'm about to say is ungodly true, which is the following. An extraordinary amount of people that have unlimited resources are desperately lonely, insecure, unhappy, and borderline depression, suicidal. That's just truth. And so, like, the thought of me talking in any other direction when I know that to be true seems like the least authentic thing I can do.
But even when you say that, you must know that for a huge amount of people, including myself, we have to have that hypothesis that those things will give us some kind of fulfillment or meaning. We have to have that fail us before we learn the lesson. Gary's words versus the insecurity that was developed from my mother and my father on the playground, hypothetically. One of them, when I was 7 years old, the kid said I'd never be nothing. Then my teacher, I'm not talking about myself.
No, I got it.
The teacher comes in and says, you're an asshole.
I think that's right.
On one side of the scale, you've got Gary's words.
I don't think it's either of those. I think it's the macro conversation of happiness. I believe if the kid's getting picked on, you'll never be nothing. And she or he decides, I will be content at 25. I will have peace of mind. I will smile 89.3% of my life. Instead of, I'm gonna have a mansion and a super yacht, I think shit gets crazy.
You're describing me there. So I at a very young age, only black kid in an all white area. We were also the poorest family. So we understand the value of
So you had
things.
all the advantages of adversity.
Exactly.
Yes.
On the context I was in, I was the BlackBerry in a world full of iPhones.
Yes.
So I had that feeling of like not enoughness.
I get it.
That means that as I go off into the world, I'm convinced, my subjective evidence is if you get the material success that others have, if you get there, then you'll be happy. Nothing on planet Earth could have told me different.
What if your 17 heroes on TikTok and YouTube were talking about something else? Hold on.
Yeah.
No, this is super duper important. What if your 17 heroes, how has everything changed in the world?
Can I say why that might not be enough? Because those first 10 years, as we learn in childhood psychology.
The problem is, in those first 10 years, you will have heroes outside of your family. What if your 7-year-old you on YouTube Kids finds a hero, or on ESPN app or something? What if Messi, your hero at 7, in every other interview, spoke about peace of mind, living with it? Like, what if the conversation changed? Because the conversation has changed on race, on gender, on religion, on status. Tulips used to be the most important thing.
In your life.
The king. Do you understand, in America, in 1968, in 1971, in America, if you were an astronaut or pilot, you were cooler than an athlete. I want everyone to fucking pay it. Like, this is a big fucking deal. This is what my fucking mission is. In 1971, in fucking America, if you were an astronaut or pilot, you were more famous than everybody but the top 10 athletes in America. Joe Namath was more famous. Love him. But you understand?
Yeah.
Do you understand? I choose to fight for positivity, but I refuse to not be grounded in practicality, which is why I've always thrown curveballs. Love everybody, it's all awesome. Fuck 8th place trophies. What, Gary, what? 8th place trophies lead to entitlement and fear of losing, and it fucks up kids. So like, it's kind of that juxtaposition. Practical positivity is something everyone needs to add more. And so back to your point, we are gonna put out stuff forever because it's how we're wired. The people who are listening right now, for a lot of them, they need to understand where they match with us and where they don't. You and I match on a lot of things. There's a lot of things we don't match on. The person on the other side needs to figure that out. You, I would argue, watching you from afar, we know each other, but not that deep. We haven't had those 6 hours that we need, that we will have in the next 50 years where it starts to get even closer. But even from afar, it's clear to me that you're understanding more and more what is right from the messages you've heard and what's not right for you, and you refine it and you refine it. there's a lot, to your point, I say it all the time. Please don't be me. The only thing I want people to be like me is be as happy as me. That's an insular game. That's a self-awareness game. That's a process game. That's the only thing I want people to be like with me. Like, I'm weird. I've got a lot of weird nuances. I do a lot of things that are not scalable. I don't maximize for, I'm always worried when people are like, oh, I want to learn how you build your businesses. I'm like, it's real different. Like, I don't maximize for profit. I maximize for retention of relationships. If you aren't as confident as I am, when those people leave and compete with you, you become grudge oriented and envy oriented instead of happy oriented. Like, I've got some weird elements that people can't run my playbook, but I couldn't run other people's playbook. So pay attention, find what works for you, try shit, try it multiple times. Steve said something you like, try it once. Didn't work? Steve's not an idiot. You don't suck, try it again.